to another behind the scenes cake life vlog. It is scorching in the studio today. It is not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet and we are at 20.5. I am going to have to rip that lighting tent down today, put the aircon unit back in and get that up and running. I am in a summer dress, sweating, and we're working with black because this week we have a Gothic birthday going out on Friday, and then we have a wedding cake going out on a Monday. I haven't done a Monday wedding in a while, but like I said in a previous vlog, midweek wedding cakes are just booming this year. But I also don't want to miss Eurovision, which is on Saturday, because we have like a little buffet and watch Eurovision. So we're going to see if we can get organised enough to make it to the ball. So let's get started. So when they ordered this cake design, it's a man ordering for his wife, which is really nice because we don't often get that. It's usually the women that order the cakes. But he sent through AI images as inspiration. I think there were about 4 images and at least 3 of them were AI and 1 was a real one. So when you get that sort of situation, you kind of have to manage expectations because a lot of the AI cakes are heavily detailed and not often able to be recreated in sugar. Like, you can take inspiration and pretty much make the design the same, but there's just often little elements that you know you just can't do out of sugar. So I just let him know that they were AI images, but I could take inspiration and create him something in the things that he wants, which was red, black, skulls, Gothic. So essentially that's what I'm creating, and what was really good about it is that all the images were all very different in design. So they were all black, had hints of red, had skulls, but very different across the board in design. And I like that because it gives me a good sense of what they want, but it also leaves it completely open to interpretation because they're all so different. I can do a mishmash and it still be what he wants. So that's kind of like the best sort of inspiration images to receive, where you get the vibe, but you're not necessarily copying an exact cake. I'm just making this one up as I go. But I'm just popping a border around here at the minute. Obviously it's got lots of icing sugar on it where I've popped it out of the mould, and we can do 2 things with this. We can either brush this with water to get rid of the icing sugar, or because this part is black and this part is black, I can just go in with a black airbrush and just airbrush over it to make it the same colour. So this one is leaving tomorrow. We are delivering this one. I think it's a Friday evening party, so we're going straight to the venue with it. I want to try and get this done before dinner time today because I have baking to do for the wedding cake that's due on Monday. And I will chat to you a little bit more about that design when we come to make it. So just for sizing here, this is a 5 and a 7 inch. It's one of my favourite sizes to do for a 2-tier. I'm just going to fill that little gap there. Perfect. Right, I'll just grab the airbrush and then I'll show you how we can make this fully black without having to hand paint water all over it. Nice and easy. So I've just got the name cut out here. I completely forgot I had these in my cupboard because I don't get to do Gothic names very often because there's a lot of Gothic like wedding cakes that I do. But yeah, it comes from this set of tappets I have owned for an absolute age. And honestly, they are one of the hardest tappets to use because they're incredibly small. And they've also got lots of small detail, like tiny little lines in between. But luckily I have a video on how to use tappets. It's a very old video, but it's still very relevant because I go into the why it works. I give you the secrets on how to get it to work. And I've had lots of messages from people who've watched the video and said, I could never get them to work. No matter how many videos I watched, I could never get them to work until I saw yours because, like I said, I go into a bit of detail on how to get them to work and what you're looking for. So I'll leave that one bit linked below. I've also got my age cut out. So she is 60 and I've used a mould for this. This is a mould for, got little holes in the bottom here to put like wires or supports in, but I just chop off that because we don't need it. And I'm going to be sticking these to the front. Obviously, as always, now have black nails because of black cake. I have emptied my rose box of all things red roses and I'm just trying to decide which ones to put on. I have these kind of slightly velvet ones. I have these mini ones with dark tips. I have a slightly brighter red that's velvet. I have foam red, so we're just going to hold them up to the cake and see which we prefer, but I'm thinking these ones. Here it is, all finished. I really like how this one turned out and hopefully Andy loves it, who ordered for his wife Karen. If you haven't guessed yet, it is now Thursday and we're delivering this one tomorrow evening. We are complete before dinner time. I am just now going to start packing up some orders that have been placed in my little online shop, but here is a quick little view of the finished thing. I love the spider webs. It takes so long to make though, but I have learnt my lesson and made them out of sugar paste. They just look better in sugar paste, don't they, than piped. But yeah, I just want to say thank you if you do visit my little online shop. There isn't a great deal of things in there, but it does keep me ticking over in between orders. It's always exciting to get a little email to say somebody's purchased something. So I'm going to package up 2 pins now and get those ready for the post. But as always, links to everything I mention, talk about, it's all in the description box. Good morning, it is now Friday. I am struggling today. We're working on a wedding cake for Monday. Not your normal, which is funny coming from me. I don't make normal wedding cakes anyway, but what I meant is not your normal format or layout of like a tiered round cake. We are making a replica of a car. I know what you're gonna say. Tracy, I thought you didn't like making vehicles. I don't, but the story is just too cute. So they ordered their wedding cake. Obviously, I didn't know it was a car at this point because we design later on down the line. But when she came through with the idea, it's a replica of the first car that they bought, and they called it the Lemon because there was like lots of dents in it and it was basically falling to bits a little bit. The windows wouldn't work and there was a lemon sticker in the back of the car, and they're also having it lemon flavoured. I mean, that's just cute, right? And we're putting little models of them on it as well. So I am just making the ganache this morning. I baked the cake yesterday. However, it's very difficult when you come to do a carved cake, knowing kind of how much cake you need to make the shape. So I've baked 2 10-inch by 12-inch slabs, which hopefully once stacked and carved will resemble a car. So first things first, let's get the ganache made. I have my cream in the bowl and now I need to add my chocolate. I am stressed. I'm just taking a minute to have my cup of tea. So I've just remembered why I don't do vehicles. So I can count on one hand how many times I have printed something out to use as a template. I very rarely do this, and I eyeball most things. However, they want a replica of their car. Now this, already straight off the bat, is not their car. It is a Toyota Corolla, so it is the same kind of make and model, I think, but it has different headlights. I've noticed on the picture they don't have round headlights. I have searched everywhere for the blueprints of their car. I cannot find them, and this is just the closest I can find, because ones that might have the right headlights then don't have the right curved windows at the back. So this is the closest. I'm going to use it as a guide and then put the correct headlights and shaping in, because the grille is also different on the front. But I don't print templates out, I eyeball most things. This is the reason you end up printing loads out. None of them are ever in the right size that you need. So this was the first one I printed out. I've taped it together, 3 pieces of paper. Here is my, so this is 12" by 10". So here is my car, and it almost fits. So you go, right, that's pretty much the right size lengthways. However, when it comes to the front of the car, which is obviously this way, it's only kind of like half the width. That is a very small cake. I have now printed it a little bit bigger. As you can see, taping, just simply taping pieces of paper together is not my forte. But now we have a bigger car, which is now too big this way, but it will make a slightly bigger cake. And here is the size difference to the front of the car. What I think I'm going to do, as usual, is just disregard all of this. Because to make something to scale, especially a car that has a very slim bonnet, that's a good chunk of car there, all at the front, this is very slim. There is not a lot of cake here. Most of the cake is going to be in this, but it's also where it's proportioned in length, it is then proportioned in width, and it slopes up towards the top, again losing more cake. Basically, my point is, make something to specific proportions, you're losing cake. You're paying for cake, you're paying for it to be baked, you're paying for the amount, and then we're carving it all away into a tiny cake. So this is where we have to make a design decision. If they've asked for like an exact replica, must be exact, then go with this. If they've just asked for a car cake in a model, a certain model of car, you then have to make a design decision and say, well, if I make it a little bit chunkier looking or dumpier or a little bit wider, it's a little bit more of a caricature of the car or a cartoony version of the car, but they're getting their cake that they've paid for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this very, very loosely to give them as much cake as possible. And as long as it kind of still looks like a silver car at the end of it, then we're good. Honestly, it's been so long since I picked up this camera and spoke to you that I can't even remember what I have told you about this cake at all. So I'll just quickly cover it all. So this cake was ordered as a wedding cake. We didn't know the design or anything. I think I did tell you that they wanted a replica of their car that was a little bit beaten up. It was a bit of a lemon. It had a lemon sticker in the back window, so hence why it is also lemon flavoured. I have finally completed it. It is Sunday and it is 4:45. So very close to tea time. I'm glad I've got it finished because I'm going to go home for my tea and then this is ready now to deliver tomorrow. I just have a few little pins here holding the shoes into place until they've set. So I can't take any pictures until I've removed those. But we have our couple here on the top and I love the pictures they sent through because they said he's in a pistachio suit with a pink shirt and really dark navy shoes, and she's got like a shimmery goldish champagne sort of halter neck with it's kind of like cuts at the knee with like these dangly pieces and some blue shoes with bows on. And I just thought, how different is that? Like you usually just see a white wedding dress and either a black or a navy suit. So yeah, it was just really nice to make something different. But here it is all now battered up because it does have lots of damage on the bonnet. I can't tell you, like you're trying to make it perfect like this car cake and you're trying to get every single line straight only to then like stick your Dresden tool in it and make a hole because the car itself is beat up and it's got like the silver duct tape just holding parts of the car together. Lots of damage to the paintwork on the bonnet. We have like little rough spots everywhere. Again, little pock marks and things. We have the little aerial sticking up around the back. We've just got a little just married sign hanging down there. And there's the little lemon sticker in the window. Yeah, I'm gonna go home now and I will see you tomorrow for the delivery. Well, in my rush to get things finished, I haven't done a very good job of explaining in this vlog because I forgot to tell you that I delivered the 2-tier Gothic cake. We got there, they had like a big coffin outside with a skeleton in it and 60s everywhere. The room was looking good, all the little centerpieces on the tables were like skulls of some sort. And I set it up there and they were over the moon with it, which is all you can ask for. And there were a few guests there already helping, you know, to put balloons up and things like that. And I got chatting to one bloke because he was in a similar industry, so I think he had maybe a cafe or something like that, and he was talking to me about like the price of chocolate. I was like, I know, because a lot of people just see a cake and they say, oh yeah, it's really amazing and things like that, but they don't really understand just how much our ingredients have gone up. And obviously we can only raise the prices so far before you start to outprice people being able to order one. So we have absorbed some of the costs, which is pretty much like taking a pay cut from your job. So it's like maybe you work at Asda and you go in and they say you're going to take a pay cut for this shift and you're like, and you're doing the same amount of work. So it was nice to chat to somebody who got it. He was like, the price of eggs, I used to pay like 20 to 30 pounds for this huge box of eggs. He said, guess how much I'm paying now? 70 quid. So I was having a good chin wag to him, telling him all about like the chocolate trade and why it's gone up so much because there's been bad batches of cocoa and things like that. So yeah, it was good to chat to them guys. And then obviously I got the car cake done and we went to deliver that one. Now I didn't get any footage of this because they weren't ready for me to place it where it was going. But that was so hard to get into. So the venue looked amazing. Like it was on the corner of a street, like a big junction. And there was flowers all down the front of it. Now the front door was locked, so I had to go around the side, and I found somebody kind of like folding cardboard to put in the bin, and I'm like, excuse me, do you work here? I said, I've got a wedding cake to deliver, I need to get in. Now she'd come up from like an underground hall from like maybe a cellar of some sort. Now when I say it was like a ladder, I'm not kidding, there was just enough width for 1 foot. And they were so steep, it was almost like a metal ladder with no handles. And she said, yeah, it's coming down here. I was like, the wedding cake is going down there. And she's looking at me. She went, yeah, you just have to be really careful. And I'm going, the wedding cake is going down. So she said, just a minute, I'll go and find a chef. So anyway, they found the chef and he said we could put it in the kitchen. So I walked through into the kitchen, which is quite cramped, and he showed me a doorway into the venue. And luckily the people were there, like the wedding planners were there, and told me to just place it on a sideboard in its box until they were ready for it. So I'm so thankful I weren't carrying that cake down those steps, because it was literally like asking you to carry a cake down some ladders. I was like, what? My stress levels just went whee! But that was all done. So no pictures and no footage of that delivery. But I hope they liked it. I hope they got to see it for the first time and it made them giggle because of all like their little duct tape and things on the front of the car. But that's it. I'm gonna go now because I'm already back at work ready to make another cake. So this will be next week's vlog. I haven't stopped working yet. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Please leave me a comment below because I do try to get back to them all. And I will see you again in the next one.